Recording in progress. No.
They moved the button.
Well, somebody has their volume on. Or it's Ben.
I turned it off.
It's like, hold on.
So are we recording?
Just shows live. It's not.
There's
Is that
what
you,
we
Ben?
were looking for.
That's the button.
Well, I'd like to welcome everyone this morning on this most humid day for Laramie to the June 3rd Albany County Commissioner meeting. The first item of business is call to order and roll call. So I call the meeting to order. Commissioner Gozar,
Here.
Commissioner Hoff,
Here.
Commissioner Jones present. Please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 3 is public hearing for liquor licenses. So does anyone want to make public comment on, or public comment in the hearing for the renewal of the retail liquor licenses? Either online or in the room? Would anyone like to make public comment on the renewal of the retail liquor licenses, either online or in the room? Okay, we will continue to renewal of the restaurant liquor licenses. Would anyone like to make comment?
Close that one.
Oh, I need to close. I was gonna close them all at once, so, okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, I move we close the retail liquor license public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks for catching me on that. Renewal of restaurant liquor license. Anyone online or in the room that would like to make comment? May I have a motion to close the,
I'll move that we close the public hearing for the restaurant liquor license.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. I'd like to open the public hearing on the renewal of the limited retail liquor licenses. That would be like a club license. Would anyone like to make comment on the limited retail liquor licenses? Either online or in the room?
Madam Chair, I move we close the public hearing for the limited retail liquor licenses.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. I would like to open the public hearing for the renewal of the microbrewery permit. Would anyone like to make comment on the microbrewery permit, either online or in the room? Okay, anyone like to make comment on the microbrewery permit, either online or in the room? We have a motion to close the public
I
hearing.
move that we close the public hearing for the microbrewery permit.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. I'd like to open the public hearing for the renewal of the winery permit. Would anyone like to make comment on the winery permit, either online or in the room? Okay, anyone want to make comment on the winery permit, either online or in the room? We have a motion to close the winery.
Madam Chair, I move we close the public hearing for the renewal of the winery permit.
Thank you. I'd like to open the public hearing for the Willis Zoning District Amendment ZDA 03-25. Would anyone like to make comment on the public hearing for the Willis Zoning District Amendment ZDA 03-25, either online or in the room? We have a motion.
Yeah, I'll move that we close the public hearing for the Willis zoning district amendment ZDA 03-25.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 4, any comments from the public, either online or in the room? Come on up, Sarah. I take my glasses off so
Thank
I
you,
can
Madam
see your
Chair.
necklace.
And Commissioners, I just want to give you a little bit of news to celebrate. The Pilot Hill Trailhead has broken ground. There's a lot of dirt being moved around out there. The foundation for the shelter structure has been excavated. We anticipate the bathrooms will be delivered next week. So I just want to thank you and celebrate with you the progress that's being made. We hope to have it wrapped up this fall and have a large community celebration at that time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to make public comment, either online or in the room? If not, may I have a motion to close the public comments?
Move that we close the public comment period.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 5, disclosures.
Madam Chair, are we,
Did we skip something again?
nope, I'll just be removing
Okay.
myself from item 25. Because my
Okay.
organization is the CSBG organization.
Commissioner Gosa are gonna be adding one. You may need to remove yourself from 2 as well.
Okay. Joe, we'll do that.
We'll do
Yeah,
that when we
okay.
get there.
It's just out of order a little.
Yeah.
And then I have one on item 18. I'm a member of one of the organizations that in the MOU,
What number?
18.
Are you gonna recuse yourself from voting?
I don't think I need to.
Okay.
Item 6, consideration of changes to the agenda. And so after your last comment, I'm guessing you have one.
Well, I
Or
have
2
2 to
or 10.
remove and then I have 1 to add. So the 2 removals will be item 22 and item 23. VOA is actually gonna provide us some termination letters,
23 and,
22 and 23.
okay.
Yeah, VOA will provide those, so we'll put it on your next meeting. And then I do need to add an item, and Commissioner Jones, I did leave you the cover sheet there, so you'll have it. It'll be notice of non-compliance for recipients for FY 25 1% community partner funding. This is the same process we did last year. It's kind of supposed to help you guys. We have reports due by May 31st every year to help with the budget process. We had 18 recipients not complete their reports yet this year. Interfaith, I did cross off. I did get that one this morning, and I've been told Safe's project is on its way. They're just getting the board signature. But the list is who I will be sending letters to as long as you approve the letter template that I've also provided you guys.
Where would you like to?
Wherever you want, I'm here
Are
the
you
whole
gonna,
meeting.
are
So
you gonna be up talking at some point that you?
I'm
decide to-
talking I'm sporadically.
You're-
Put me wherever you want.
Maybe put
Sure.
Like 22.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
And I'll be off with that one too.
Oh, okay.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
On item number 18, I need to change the language on there. In your packet, there were MOUs for, in addition to Carbon Light, the United States Forest Service, the university's Amateur Radio Club, James E. Simon Co., and Need More Land and Cattle. I need to remove James E. Simon Co. from this item and add just the others for when you're making your motion. We're gonna put Simon on the next meeting. They had some changes this morning that we are not able to address.
So you need the Forest Service,
The,
York,
yep, and Need More Land and Cattle.
Need more. What's the
Carbon Power was already on there.
York? What-
UARC, the University Amateur Radio Club.
Okay.
And then on item 20, I just need to add language after present for approval that says RFP for psychiatric nurse practitioner services.
Oh. Okay.
That should be all on my.
Any other changes to the agenda? Let's see if we can. follow.
I know all the technology in the world, we're still,
Wait, I lied. I would like to add an executive session for legal, which is 16-4-405,
16-4.
405, A sub 3.
Want to put that at 31A? Is that?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's gonna make everything interesting. then.
Yeah, we'll try to keep track of everything.
Okay, you guys, you're welcome to help with that.
All right, so we're done changing the agenda.
All right. So we will move on to item 8 of the regular agenda.
Nope.
Did I miss?
Go to 7, got to approve the consent agenda.
Oh,
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, item 8 of the regular agenda, proclaim June 10th through 16th, 2025 as Men's Health Week.
Madam Chair, I move that we proclaim June 10th through the 16th, 2025 as Men's Health Week. And for acclamations in the packet.
Second, yeah, I wasn't sure whether you're gonna read the whole thing. Okay.
If he wants to read it, he can.
No, yeah.
It's up to you.
Well, okay, let's do that.
No,
That way everybody
no,
else
I
don't have to.
You don't.
Okay.
Okay, awesome.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 9, present for approval, renewal of liquor licenses. Kayla. Okay, sorry.
Good morning,
Good morning, Kayla.
Madam Chair, Commissioners. I have the retail liquor licenses for your approval. Everything has been sent to the Wyoming Liquor Commission for their approval. It's been through Jennifer and through Aaron. We had one, Waikolo had a correction that they made. They made that correction, so that's been sent back to the Liquor Commission, but everything else is good to go. So I will just read off the whole list of them, and then you can approve them as one, if that's okay. So I have the renewal of retail liquor license for Bear Bottom LLC, doing business as Bear Bottom Bar and Grill. Burco LLC, doing business as V Bar Guest Ranch. Calverman 2 LLC, doing business as Calverman Steakhouse. Hubbard Mountain Cupboard LLC, doing business as Hubbard Mountain Cupboard. Penn's Retreat LLC, doing business as Woods Landing Resort. Trading Post Centennial LLC, doing business as Trading Post Centennial. Sentinel Station LLC, doing business as The Friendly Store. Ski YO LLC, doing business as Snowy Range Ski and Recreation Area. Snowy Range Resorts, Inc., doing business as Albany Lodge, and Waikolo Lodge LLC, doing business as Waikolo Lodge, for your approval.
May I have a motion, please? Or is there any discussion or question?
I don't, was there any issues?
Nope, so like I said, we had, usually the only issues we ever have with our liquor license people is filling out their application correctly. So that gets caught when I bring them in. I try to review them as best as I can. I do miss stuff, and then it gets sent to the Liquor Commission. They go through their process, and then if they have any corrections, they send me a correction memo for the applicant to then make those corrections. Like I said, Waikolo had one. They had filled out a bubble that they weren't supposed to. They had to make that correction. But all the other corrections, I think there were maybe a total of 3, have made all of their corrections. So.
Okay. Do you need us to read off?
Nope, I've read them all into the record, so we can approve them as one.
Okay. I move that we approve the renewal of retail liquor licenses as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 10, present for approval renewal of restaurant liquor license.
Madam Chair, so the Old Corral sold last year. I think it was in last year's when it happened. When they did that, they put their food permit in the wrong name. Not the wrong name, they put it into their trade name and not into their LLC. That was caught this year. It wasn't caught last year, which is very interesting. It was caught by the Liquor Commission. I still have not received an updated food permit from the owner of Old Corral. So I would like to table this one until the next meeting, until they can then get that food permit corrected. Everything else is good. It's just in the wrong name. I don't think it allows them to not function. It should just be in their LLC and not in their trade name. So once I get that updated, I will bring that back at the next meeting, if that's okay.
And what's the date at the next meeting?
The 6th.
17th.
17th, okay.
Madam Chair, I move we table the renewal of restaurant liquor license for the Old Corral LLC to the table it to the 17th of June meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. present for approval renewal of limited retail liquor license. That's a club license. Kayla.
Madam Chair and Commissioners, this is for BCR Inc., doing business as Fox Run. It is our only limited retail liquor license holder, and their application was complete, so.
Move that we approve the renewal of limited retail liquor license, club license as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 12, present for approval renewal of microbrewery permit.
Madam Chair and Commissioners, we have one microbrewery permit for Ski YO LLC, doing business as Snowy Range Ski Area. Everything is good to go.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the renewal of the microbrewery permit as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 13, present for approval renewal of winery permit.
Madam Chair and Commissioners, we have one winery permit. It's for Weston Wineries LLC, doing business as Weston Wineries. And they are all good to go as well.
Move that we approve or renew the winery permit for Weston LLC.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 14,
Thanks.
thank you very much, Kayla. Item 14, present for consideration Willis zoning district amendment ZDA-03-25.
Morning, Commissioners. The applicant and owner is Nathan Willis. Address is 83 Little Worth Lane. His request is to change the zoning from agricultural to rural residential. There were some reviews. Jake Schneider, engineer, had comments on the potential subdivision, but no comments on this application. Holly Dyer of the Laramie Rivers Conservation District commented on erosion, soil degradation, and irrigation. Her full comments can be seen in the review section. And Taylor Report from YDOT had no comments on this application, but mentioned that Little Worth Lane may require additional improvements if a subdivision comes forward. The applicant has provided a complete application, including all required documentation. The planning department believes the proposed zoning district amendment generally follows the suggestions of the Albany County Comprehensive Plan. This property is currently zoned ag, and a change to rural residential is compatible with existing land use of surrounding properties. The findings necessary for approval and applicant responses referenced in this report are adopted as findings reflecting that the applicant has adequately addressed the specified impacts and the same are incorporated herein. The applicant is proceeding in accordance with and is in compliance with the requirements of the Albany County zoning resolution, and the Planning and Zoning Commission unanimously recommended that the Board of County Commissioners approve the Willis Zoning District Amendment ZDA 0325, adopting and incorporating the staff analysis, findings of fact, and conclusions of law as each are stated in the staff report.
Any questions or comments? We have a motion?
I move that we approve the Willis zoning district amendment ZDA-03-25, including the finding of facts and conclusions of law presented in the staff report.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 15, present for discussion overview of crime statistics for Albany County per request of the Albany County Commissioners. Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning, Commissioners. How you guys doing? I think Ben is getting the presentation up for you guys. I'm just gonna, Terry asked for kind of a review of crime statistics as she had been seeing some information on some local and national newscasts about a month ago, and just wanted to kind of see where we were in terms of Albany County and the Albany County Sheriff's Office. And so I will kind of quickly go over what we have basically been up to. So I'll go to the next one. So just to give you an overview of the Albany County Sheriff's Office, like I said, we have 46 sworn deputies. 23 of those deputies work in our detention center. 23 work on patrol. That includes myself. We have 9 civilian staff / deputies that mainly deal with the civil side of our operation. About 4,300 square miles in Albany County, which is roughly the size of Delaware. And so it's a large area to cover with the individuals that we have covering it. We're approximately 38,000 people for population within all of Albany County. That also includes the city of Laramie, which falls into our jurisdiction as well. And then you'll see that as I go over these statistics, a lot of them are in conjunction with Wyoming Highway Patrol, Laramie Police Department, University of Wyoming Police Department, and Wyoming Division of Criminal Investigation. So I don't think it cut it off. So hopefully you guys can kind of see just some crime totals that we have there. A good portion of what we had in 2024 are, you can see traffic is about 41%. And kind of all of those other calls are about 36%. So you can see those property crime calls, civil process, civil matters, suspicious, crashes, DUIs, narcotics are really a small portion of our call load that we had in 2024. So in 2025, you're seeing that the statistics are, for the most part, along the same lines. We've run those statistics for the first quarter, and they're shaping up to, for the most part, kind of be the same. So some highlights in 2024 that we have here. We had 237 arrests on warrants. A lot of those come within the detention center, but a lot of them are on the road as well. And so that's a number that's fairly high. We have 158 calls of assisting other agencies on there as well, which is also a high number. A good portion of the agencies that we assist is usually the highway patrol with crashes and other things that they have on our roads and our highways. But we also assist the other agencies that we have there as well. So 114 different civil matters that we deal with. So a lot of the civil issues that we have, whether that's writs of restitutions, evictions, sex offender registry, those types of things, those calls are usually fairly high as well. Emergent calls, which is for the most part our medical emergency calls. I was about 218 of our calls last year. So we respond to a lot of medical emergencies within the county.
Is that policy to send the deputy out with an ambulance? It used to be. I don't know if it still is.
It's not policy, it's just good practice that we do. And in a lot of cases, nothing against the fire department, they do a great job. But a lot of cases we can go ahead and get there first. And be able to assess those medical situations. And so a lot of times we do have a deputy assisting the fire department on those medical calls as well. So our K9 activity is up. That's due to the 2 K9s that we have as well. So that's about 95 of our calls that we had last year. So motor vehicle crashes are high, always high, unfortunately, in Albany County. That was about 142 of the cases that we had last year. Skipped one. Driving under the influence, also high, and it's always been high in Albany County. We're doing a much better job of enforcing them. It's about 90 of our calls that we had last year. This year, we're already at 42. And so we're probably going to go ahead and surpass those numbers here within the next few months. And then trespassing calls were extremely high last year as well. We had about 85 of those calls. And in comparison, we only have about 7 this year.
So what was the cause of so many trespassing? Trespassing, I get that.
A good portion of what we have to deal with is landowner issues, where.
Landlord tenant or,
Not so, the landlord tenant usually falls more into our civil issues that we deal with as well, but I don't have a better way to classify it. We just have neighbors that tend to get into arguments, and tense discussions with each other and end up requesting either trespass from each other's lands or we have a neighbor that goes into somebody else's land as well. And so we have to issue that trespass warning there as well. So, like I said, I don't have any other way to really classify it. We have a lot of neighbors in the county that fight with each other. So,
Well, how often, is it trespassed when there is somebody on, landowners, land, then they're saying, well, I didn't know that this was private property.
very rarely, to tell you the truth. So.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that.
Yes, we very rarely do we have somebody who accidentally trespasses into land
Well, there's a
or
big question about accidentally.
or
Accidentally on purpose.
hunters, hikers, outdoor recreationists. Very rarely do we have really any calls for trespassing in any of those instances. It's usually neighbors that are adjacent from each other.
Okay.
So, or closely adjacent from each other, requesting the sheriff's office for them to stay off of each other's land.
That's almost like going to domestic dispute.
Yes. So,
Which it might be sometimes.
Yeah. So if you want to go to the next slide for me, Ben. Thanks. This is just a brief overview of our citations per month. The blue is what you see in 2024. The green is in 2025. And you'll see there's definitely some fluctuation. Obviously, like I said, for the green, it's only that first quarter. But you'll see we're going to be kind of right on track by the end of the year. So they'll be a little bit similar, even though that first quarter numbers are a little bit higher than it was last year. So if you just want to go to the next. So some calls for services that were up in 2024, definitely domestic violence, DUI, medical emergency, welfare checks, and livestock animal cases. I think that was about 85 of our cases as well. So
Hopefully those have been resolved.
yes, they're all resolved. So the calls for services are down in 2025 so far. Let's hope it stays down. The narcotics possessions, suicides are down so far. And our welfare checks have come way down also. So yeah, that's really what we're kind of looking for. I just want to go next. Any questions, concerns, things that you guys want to know?
so those are your statistics for the sheriff's office?
Those are just our statistics for the sheriff's
How
office.
many, I'm assuming LPD, UWPD, also report, what is it? The Uniform Crime Report to the FBI.
Yes, so we do as well.
Okay, so 20 years ago, that was a book you had to go look at the library. And
Yeah.
I just pulled it up and like, there's a whole lot more stat work that they've done for you.
Right.
So, okay.
We actually publish our statistics every month.
Yeah, no, yeah.
So you can see them there. So you don't have to, if you wanted to go, it's actually not called UCR anymore. It's called NIBRS,
Okay.
which is National Incident Based Reporting System.
I just remember having to do reports in college and you had to go get the book and
Yeah.
build your own graphs.
But yes, we no longer wait for just kind of the yearly report to come out. Essentially, we report our statistics every month. So
No, the best part is the jail report.
yeah.
Who got arrested for what? And yeah.
Yeah, we put all those in. Like I said, we go a little bit above and beyond than what's required for us. So you guys get to see in those statistics not only how many people are coming in and what that average daily population is, but how many medical calls, how many attorney visits, how many people went to court, how many inmates are transferred between facilities on there as well. So we try and get that out as best we possibly can.
Can you tell me about, have you had any assaults in the jail?
Assaults in the jail are usually few and far between, but yes, we do have a few.
And when that happens, are they reported?
Yes. So it's usually it's a physical assault, usually a fight between two inmates. We usually, like I said, it's not necessarily reported by an inmate. We catch it as it's happening in real time. And so it's a self-initiated report by our office as well.
You just generate another case.
Yes, we generate another case and then law enforcement action is taken from there.
So one other question, are you aware of any crimes that were reported to the Albany County Sheriff's Office? But the crime was not, generated, a report was not generated?
For a crime, no, we usually generate a report for a crime. For maybe a complaint that doesn't result in a crime or charges, some of those are what we would call a CAD call. So they're recorded as a call for service that came into our system, but it doesn't rise to the level of a criminal case. And so to give you an example, every traffic stop that we have generates a CAD call, but it doesn't necessarily generate a criminal case, especially if we give like a warning to somebody. Where we give a warning for speed or seatbelt or brake light. That will generate a call in our system, but it won't generate an actual criminal case.
And then could you talk a little bit about how you handle cases that involve ICE and illegal aliens?
Sure. So for our portion of that, let's say we get a charge on somebody who's either suspected or has already been charged as being entered into the United States illegally. It's two different court sets. Our charges are local charges. ICE, Department of Homeland Security, are federal charges. And so what we do in our jail is if we get them in, they go through their due process on that local side. If ICE gets notification or notifies us that they want to go ahead and follow through on their proceedings are civil in nature at that federal level, not criminal. And so essentially, ICE has that decision on whether they want to go ahead and take that inmate and charge them federally, which would affect a transfer, or if they want to wait for the local process to go through first. So in many cases, they wait for the local process to go through first, and then want to go through their federal process afterwards. So essentially what we do is once that case is fully adjudicated, if we have an inmate that's awaiting court, they go through the court process and then they get released. We release them when the judge tells us to release them. So it's up to the federal agency to come and go through their federal process. The local charge isn't needed for the feds to go through their process. So a local charge doesn't effectuate any of their civil warrants or their administrative warrants that they have.
Okay, I have a couple of people have texted me questions. In the auto crashes, how many were fatalities?
Don't think I've brought those with me, but I do have them if you want to hold on real quick. Let me get that for you. Here we are. So for. I have them for the state of Wyoming. They don't have them for Albany County. Last year, or no, year to date. This is for Albany County. In 2024, there were 22 traffic fatalities.
In Albany County.
In Albany County. So. And I don't have 2025's numbers yet,
Well, we're only halfway through, so.
although I'm looking. For the state, there's 31. So,
And then there's another question, and I don't know exactly when this question came in, so I don't know
that's fine.
exactly what topic we were talking about. But this person says, what percentage are local versus out of county? And that's a really good question.
So it's
but
kind
we
of a
just
broad
know
question
which one.
for which category.
Right.
I can tell you for most of our crimes against people, so domestics, assaults, sexual assaults, those are all local residents on there. Welfare checks, for the most part, are local residents. A good portion of them are. Every once in a while, we'll have somebody that kind of either gets lost or it needs a welfare check that's from, very rarely is it out of state. Usually it's out of county. They're a Wyoming
Sure,
resident
yeah.
or somebody else on there as well. So a good portion of our traffic statistics would say it's about half and half, and that's a little bit anecdotal, where half is about out of state, and then the other half are Wyoming residents. So with I-80, 287, and then some of our other state highways, we're a high tourist destination, and then we have a transient population within the University of Wyoming. So a lot of students coming and going, a lot of professors coming and going. And so a good portion of those traffic statistics are going to be out of state folks.
Well, as vague, as good a question as it was, but as to that particular topic they wanted, thank you for trying to cover so many different. I appreciate that.
No.
I don't have any further questions.
Sheriff, I just have a couple.
Sure.
So Immigration Customs Enforcement
Nice.
does not have to talk to you when they're operating in Albany County. Is that correct?
They are not. I've been in contact with them when I've requested that they talk to the sheriff's office and let us know, and go through a process that we call deconflict on there, to make sure that we know where they are when they're there and that they're not getting involved in any other ongoing either investigations or processes that we have. So it's also a safety issue as well, that we ask them to do that. So.
And then with the legislature passing the gun-free, removal of the gun-free ban, does that add to you guys' workload? And you don't have to tell me the intimate details, but what kind of percentage is added to your workload?
It's a little bit hard to quantify. It is going to add to our workload though, to where we are going to have to be present at more places, more times than we have been able to be in the past. So and so in terms of us having our physical presence at a lot of these places, we're being asked to be there quite a bit. And so, and that's some of the workload that it'll be added onto in terms of enforcing the law or, affecting citations or arrests. That has yet to be seen. So, but our physical presence is, like I said, is being requested at more venues that traditionally we haven't been asked to be at in the past.
And then is it true that the concealed carry permit just requires a hunter safety training at some point in a person's future? So if I had mine when I was 13 and I'm now 57, that's enough to get me a concealed carry permit?
Yeah, for your if you go through concealed carry permit, our laws in Wyoming for firearms are kind of tiered. We have We have open carry, we have constitutional carry, and then we have permitted carry as well. And so what you're asking for permitted carry, there's a variety of different firearms training options per state statute that you can present to get that concealed carry license. Hunter safety is one of them. Military service, past law enforcement service, taking a concealed carry class, is all part of state statute, all part of the options to meet the training requirement to obtain a concealed carry permit.
And then my final question, in this room as county commission, it will just be requirement of constitutional carry. Is that correct? And then the person just has to certify to themselves that they're ready to carry a gun. Is that my understanding?
That is the correct understanding. Yep.
Thank you.
Any other?
I just have a question with your request for additional support or additional visibility, I guess, is is it not necessarily not the university where they might be able to use their staff in that capacity? Are you getting requests for a lot more like rural schools or?
The requests that we have are kind of a variety of different people, but not the university actually. So people that'll have kind of their one event that they have, they'll request police presence at those events. Some of those are bike rides, charity walks, long distance horse races,
Gotcha.
Sometimes escorts for certain groups that are kind of carpooling or caravanning through town.
It's more for civility and visibility.
Yep, for the most part, speakers, town halls, those types of things as well. So.
I have one other question.
Sure.
Just popped in my. So it's my understanding that in Laramie County, that they're in the process of cross-deputizing with ICE.
Mhm.
Is that something that you're considering here in Albany County?
That is something I'm not considering here. So that's called the Immigration and Customs Service 287G program. And what that requires, there's essentially three different programs there. There is one where you can deputize your deputies to go out into the community and enforce immigration and customs law. There's one where you can deputize your detention deputies to investigate immigration and customs law. And then there's one where you can deputize your detention deputies to essentially enforce ICE federal law. The reason why I was approached in December, and the main reason why I denied it is on a 287G program, you have to meet basically every federal detention standard that they have on the books. You have to meet all the training standards that they have to enforce all of the federal laws as well. And unfortunately, the federal government only provides oversight and consequences for that program. They do not provide any funding or anything to help effectuate that program. Here at Albany County, we do not have the staff, the facility, or the infrastructure to be able to go through that 287G program. So, and to be honest, the way things are going in terms of budget-wise, budget cuts, and there's some legal questions with it as well. Albany County in no way, shape, or form is going to be in a position to go through that 287G program anytime soon. So, no, we are not in that program. Out of the 3,000 sheriff's office that they have across the nation, only about 77 of them are entered into a 287G program across the nation in some way, shape, or form. And it's a weird smattering of sheriff's offices across the nation. So there's no one conglomerate. There's no like one state that has all of their sheriff's office in there. So it's an individual decision between each sheriff's office that they have there. So, like I said, Albany County's in no position to be entered into that program.
I just have one. What percentage would you say the jail is occupied to?
Our average daily population right now is low. So we're about 37% capacity. Last year, we were at about 85 to 88%.
I was going to say, do you have a season of more occupancy?
Capacity? We're creeping up back to where, usually we're anywhere between 37 to 42. And that's the average. We can hold up to 66 on there. If we double people up in weird places, we can increase that to almost 100. But like I said, last year we were at about 85% capacity on there. And that's actually pretty significant because in the past, we would usually hang on to split sentence DOC inmates as well. It's not a large portion of our population, it's a small portion.
But that becomes an income for the sheriff's office.
It does until DOC runs out of money, which they've done now consecutively the last couple of years. They run out of money in January. And so those numbers now that we have are pretty true because when they run out of money, we don't hold on to split sentence DOC inmates anymore. And so running at that 85% capacity, that's pretty local. That's usually all local inmates. And like I said, that's pretty full. Right now we're in a lull, which we'll take, but I guarantee you it will not last long. That these lulls come around that we're experiencing about every 2 to 3 years, and it only lasts a couple months.
Sheriff, was the Carbon County Jail pretty full here last year, 2 years? Have they been bringing folks here?
No, they haven't had overflow. A couple of years ago, they had a few overflows that we took for them as well. We have what's called a Northwest Shuttle Service. Essentially, all of the sheriff's offices within the state of Wyoming communicate each other. A lot of times for those arrest on warrants that we talked about, that'll be a warrant maybe out of Fremont County or Sweetwater County, or the opposite. Sweetwater County, Uinta County will arrest on a warrant out of Albany County. And every single day we're setting up the logistics to transfer inmates along that route so that they can go through their due process in the proper jurisdictions. So most of the sheriff's offices that we communicate with fairly often are all along the I-80 corridor and then Natrona County. So.
I don't have any more.
Thanks for the education.
Hey,
Aaron, thank you very much for coming in and presenting today.
No
I
problem.
really appreciate it.
No problem, guys.
Yeah. It's very, very informative.
Yeah, thank you. I think I'm still on the docket here.
Oh, well, then just stay right there.
Yeah. We're at number
16.
16. 16.
I see your name there.
All right. This is just a present for approval the request for proposals for inmate medical services at the Albany County Detention Center and direct that clerk to advertise.
Well, that was nice of you to read.
I wasn't sure if you were going to read it or not. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I don't mind. I was just,
We'll get to it.
Yeah. And so in front of you, you guys have that RFP. The contract that we have for inmate medical will be expired August 31st of 2025. And so we're getting that process started now. It's going to be a lengthy bid process. You guys will see there that there's an extremely long questionnaire attached.
Yeah, the matrix there, is that, okay.
It's essentially for that RFP, they're going to be required to fill out that extremely long matrix to make sure that they can provide all the services that we're looking for within within that medical realm, for services at the Albany County Detention Center.
And you're expecting this to be the bid to come back in excess of $900,000?
And so what I did is put in a budget, I think I put $850,000
Maybe, yeah.
per budget. And that's just an approximation. The approximation that we got 4 years ago for jail medical coming in for a jail of our size and for the things that we were requesting, which is medical services for 16 hours a day. Back in 2021 was the approximation there was, I believe, about $687,000 at that time. So if you take into account inflation and current costs in there, that's what we come up with the approximate cost that I gave you guys for your budget session coming up there, that it could be somewhere right around $850,000 per year. Obviously, we don't know. We're asking for those requests for proposals. And so, and hopefully any medical division that's watching this public meeting, I can give them a hint that the lower the cost is, there's a good chance that there's going to be more of a successful bid with it. So, because Albany County has some cost restraints when it comes to providing that statutorily required medical facility within that jail.
So currently you're operating 16 hours a day with medical 7 days a week. Okay. In-state, out-of-state contractor?
Right now, most of those are in-state people that are working as the nurses. So when we first started, we've had to have some travel nurses come out of state to help out with that. But almost everybody has been local and has been for quite a while, actually. So
I'm just doing the math on the contract, and they're floating between $75 and $100 an hour, 24/7 year round. And I'm just wondering if there are other options besides a contract, or if the county itself could service, or if that's going to be too much of an ask.
So what we've talked about, and I guess if you guys want to talk about it now, we're more than welcome to talk about that now. Or we can.
If we're going to do it during a budget session, then we can, that's fine.
We can wait for the budget session and I can tell you,
I mean, want you to have to double your efforts.
No, the long and short of it is that, you either pay for it up front or you pay for it on the back end. And so paying for it up front reduces all of your liability that you have. Paying for it on the back end usually means you're liable for something. So, and those costs go significantly higher from there. So.
Good.
Well, I move that we approve the request for the RFP for inmate medical services at the Albany County Detention Center and direct the clerk to advertise.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Aaron, thank you.
Sure.
And then
I'm on the next
And you're on
one
the
with
next
Bailey as well.
Okay, item 17. Present for approval grant contract between State of Wyoming Office of the Attorney General Division of Criminal Investigation and Albany County Sheriff's Office for High Intensity Drug Trafficking Area Grant Program in the amount of $78,578 from January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025, and direct the sheriff to sign.
This is our yearly renewal with Rocky Mountain HIDA and the Division of Criminal Investigation for our intensity drug trafficking area deputy that we have. The grant pays for one deputy to be part of a team to go ahead and investigate those crimes within our area. This one's coming to you a little bit late, and that's has nothing to do with me or Bailey. This is the
Do with all the federal funding.
yeah, federal funding was finally approved and released, I think on Friday.
Yeah, I just.
Is when we got notice for it. And so And it's no different than it has been in the past. It pays for one deputy to be on that team. That's the amount that you have right there to cover, salary, benefits, everything that's included.
It actually does not cover everything. It does not cover the health insurance that is
Okay.
provided in the match. And it covers a certain, there's a certain percentage of match, which will be is in my grant match, come budget.
So is that in the fringe amount? In the report or in the document here? So there's 58,000 for salary and then there's 20,000 and change fringe for a total of 78,578.
Mhm.
Okay.
So they only give us a certain portion. The information I got from them when I was at my conference in April is that they were trying to get more at the federal level this year. It's just not happening. So, but my match for this position has not changed. And you will see that.
And does this take a deputy off the street? Do you lose that deputy to this training and this enforcement action, or?
Yes and no. Yes, for the most part, it takes deputy off the street,
Okay.
but we reserve the right to pull them back whenever we need them, and we've done that in the past, so.
When we go in for reimbursement every month with this position, there is, depending on what the deputy has done that month, depends on what reimbursement we get. So if Aaron needed him for some other activities that month, that's something that HIDA then will not reimburse us for. And that's why there's match there as well,
Okay.
too.
I move we approve the grant as presented for HIDA and the Albany County Sheriff's Office in the amount of $78,578.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners, appreciate it.
Item 18, present for approval memorandum of understanding and definition of ownership interest between the Board of County Commissioners of Albany County, Wyoming, by and through the Albany County Sheriff's Office and Carbon Power and Light for space rental on Gel Mountain Communications Site. So we need to do
Forest
Service, Need More, and
University Amateur Radio Club.
yes.
Good morning, commissioners.
Morning.
So this MOU, earlier this year, we had the lease and the right of way with the BLM for this site. These MOUs are for all the users who have equipment on that site, with the exception of Simon, which we removed because they came back with, as I mentioned earlier, some comments that they would like to address in their MOU. Because they had a pre-existing lease with the BLM that they terminated when we entered into ours. So we're gonna address that language in theirs. Other than that, do you have any questions for me? And Kate is here if you have additional questions as well.
And I did talk to the gentleman that called me, and he's
Okay.
very happy with how this is all progressing.
We're good. Hopefully we'll get these last things sorted out and we'll have Simon on our next meeting.
Very good. May I have a motion?
Yeah, I'll move that we approve the memorandum of understanding and definitions of ownership, interest for space rental at the Gel Mountain Communication Site between the Board of County Commissioners of Albany County, Wyoming, by and through the Albany County Sheriff's Office, U.S. Forest Service, UARC, University Amateur Radio Club, Carbon Power and Light, and Need More Land Cattle Corporation.
Second, well done.
Yeah, that's very
She
good.
actually put the whole thing in.
Yeah.
It was all right. It's all right.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 19, present for approval memorandum of understanding between the City of Laramie, Wyoming and Board of Commissioners for Albany County, Wyoming for EMS services in the county. Jennifer.
Hello again. So this is the agreement that we have with the city for the fire department to extend EMS services outside of city limits. It is at the same price that it's been at for the last couple of years, which we haven't adjusted, and is a negotiated rate that we have with them. It's, if we went by their pro forma rates that they put together, our cost would be closer to $500,000. The city has always recognized the space that we're in, and there's been a lot of flux with the change in their agreement with the hospital that will end in September of this year. So after talking to Chief Johnson and confirming with him, the city is in agreement that we put this forward at the same rate that it's been at for this year. And then we can look at it as their changes go into a place this fall and see if that changes anything, and then we'll adjust next year as necessary.
Do you see significant change next year?
For us, probably no, because the big bulk of, or the big part of what they had with the hospital was for transports after somebody had been brought to the hospital. And ours is the front end of that, where there's the accident that the EMS goes out and then takes them to the hospital. So on our end, I don't anticipate that there will be anything huge there. I don't know for sure, but that would be my guess.
Well, I move that we approve the memorandum of understanding, or let me get on, make sure I'm on the right one. Memorandum of understanding between the city of Laramie, Wyoming, and the Board of County Commissioners of Albany County, Wyoming, for EMS services in the county.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 20, present for approval psychiatric nurse practitioner services for Albany County Supervised Treatment Program adult participants. And direct the clerk to supervise.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, our current contract for these services ends the end of September 30th. So I'm trying to get on the front end and have things in place. This is to provide mental health assessments, mental health medication management, as well as medications of opioid use disorder, our MAT services. We have a significant population of our drug court that are opioid use diagnosis. And so having this partnership with medical professionals helps us provide those services. All of the funds from this come out of our SAMHSA federal grant. And yeah. Any questions?
Heather, with the rates of $267 for a new patient office visit and $272 for the high complexity and the medium complexity of $202 for office visit, is that just, where do you get and generate those numbers?
Those numbers came, so I'd reached out to all of the psychiatric nurse practitioners in town, and I only got a response from one, and those are the rates that they charge for those visits specifically. We have historically done a lump sum payment every month. When we put out this RFP last year, that year before, we had gotten feedback that what we were paying versus what costs were being incurred because of our number of participants. We have changed it to paying per visit instead of the lump sum. And then that also helps us if our numbers fluctuate, then we would be able to pay less that year. So that is the going rate for those appointments.
Yeah, so a maximum of 41.8
Yes.
annually. Okay, thank you. I move that we approve the RFP for the psychiatric nurse practitioner, Albany County Court Supervised Treatment Program adult participants as presented, and direct the clerk to advertise.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 21, present for approval RFP for psychiatric nurse practitioner services for Albany County Court Supervised Treatment Program juvenile participants. Heather.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, this is the RFP for the exact same services just for our juvenile population. This goes up to 6 participants, which we have been averaged around 4 or 5 of our juveniles that have benefited from the mental health services. None of them receive the medications for opioid use. That's not our population for juveniles, but the mental health services and medication management has been a big thing for our program. And this is also paid for through our federal funds, and would be capped at $6,000 per year.
I move that we approve the RFP for psychiatric nurse practitioner service for Albany County Court Supervised Treatment Program for juvenile participants, and direct the clerk to advertise.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you,
Thank you.
Heather. Now, Bailey, are we on 22 that you're gonna talk about? Okay. Item 22, present for approval, termination of agreement between the board.
Nope.
That was removed.
So we removed,
22,
Oh, we
23.
moved it. That's
Yeah.
right. Okay, I'm sorry.
it should be that handout that, or that one that I gave you, Terry.
Okay.
The notice of non-compliance.
Yep.
Okay.
So, this is the non-compliance for the FY 25, 1% community partner funding. We did have a due date of, May 31st. Reports were due. And we are still missing 17 of them. Last year, we put out a letter of non-compliance, with a new due date of if they do not get that report to us by then, that, you would not consider them for funding for the following year. I want to confirm that this is something you still want to do, and I just need a date that we need to put in here. Last year, your meeting, I believe, was on the 5th. And yeah, I think 5th. And we had a due date of June 14th. Just for.
So my organization's in here and I am so sorry. I don't know how that happened, but you will have it tonight. I'm not gonna vote on this and I'm not gonna set the date, but my apologies.
How soon is it imperative that we have this information?
So, I mean, that's up to you. So we have budget work sessions this week and then talking with Kayla, yeah. So there will be at least another, probably 1 or 2 budget meetings after.
And you'll have another commissioner meeting before.
Mhm. So, I mean, my recommendation would be the 13th. Give them till next Friday.
Friday before the next.
Yep, the Friday before the next meeting, and then we could put this back on your agenda, or you guys could just talk about it during budget. I also am happy to send the reports to you guys. I just was kind of waiting to get a bunch of them in. Basically what the reports are pretty simple. We basically just want to know, have you spent the funding? What did you spend it on? And did you spend it on what you said you were going to spend it on? And if you haven't spent it, why? So, Interfaith called me, I talked to him yesterday, and, what he had put his money in for the request he had put in, those needs haven't come up yet. So we haven't spent it yet. So what when we put this together, we put them on contracts, the whole point of it was for you guys to see this prior to budget, because there are organizations that don't follow the rules like they should with the funding that we give them. Or they don't spend the funds. And we want to make sure that we're not giving those funds to somebody who's not going to spend them when other entities could spend them, is basically the bottom line. So we can put that May 31st report date so you guys could see it prior to going into budget. Then if they hadn't spent the funds by May 31st, they have another report due in July. But if they've already spent it, they don't have to do that second report.
The 13th is fine.
Okay.
I move that we, set the submission date for June 13th, 2025.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, so item 24, 22, and 23 were removed. So 24, present for approval, subrecipient agreement between Albany County Commissioners and Pilot Hill Incorporated in the amount of $17,581.73 for this year, 2024 Albany County Rec Board funding from June 1st, 2025 through June 24th, 2026.
So at the last meeting, we had some additional rec board funding that we had you guys reallocate. This is just that agreement with Pilot Hill, for those funds.
I move we approve the agreement as presented.
Can I,
Oh, sorry.
just a minute. Where's Exhibit A? Under the purpose, there's no, it just
The
allocates the
application.
funds. It doesn't actually allocate for the project. Or what the
Exhibit
funds-
A, because we didn't have, I should have removed that. We didn't have them submit a new application. Exhibit A could be the application that they submitted for the FY 26 funding that they did this year. The reason that I had the recommendation of Pilot Hill was because it was a project that Rec Board did not fully fund, but it was still a project that they approved, which majority of our projects, they do fully fund. They hardly ever partially fund them, and this just happened to be one of those projects.
And we did this as a separate agreement instead of our other alternative was to amend our original agreement with the rec board to add this additional funding. But we wanted to leave it separate because it was that separate funding that came back. We figured that would be easier to track on the way through later, rather than saying, well, where did this amendment come from here in the middle? So it's all tied back to that original agreement. We
But
can
what
change
we're
the
voting
language
on
in there.
today doesn't have an earmark other than to reference the previous document.
Correct. So I can change the language in there, to say that it's the application that was with the prior agreement that we signed and add that date and remove the reference to Exhibit A and Exhibit B.
I think, yeah, if it's just the dollar amount that's being allocated to the project,
Mhm.
and that's what's in this document,
Okay,
it's too vague,
okay.
at least for me to endorse.
I will remove, I will remove from the purpose then and just change it to say for its application, for its fiscal year funding, comma, as received and approved pursuant to prior agreement dated. Cause then that prior agreement will have the Exhibit A and Exhibit B.
Okay.
Does that satisfy?
We can
what you're
table
looking
this
for?
too and bring it back next week. There's not a rush for it.
That's what I think
Or
we should
2
do.
weeks.
Let's table
Okay.
it.
Okay.
Is that okay with you?
Yeah,
Deb?
that's fine.
I move we table item 24 to the next meeting, June 17th.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
Yeah. No, I'm just trying to keep track of the agenda at this point.
Item 25, present for approval grant agreement. Department of Health, Public Health Division and Albany County for FFY 26, FFY 29 community service block grant funds in the amount not to exceed $826,888 through November 15th, 2029. Bailey.
CSBG has actually changed the process of their funding a little bit this year. Usually we see a 1-year agreement with a 1-year budget, usually not till September or October. So what they decided to do is, okay, let's go ahead and give you guys the 4 years up front because at the state level, they know that. So we have an agreement. This is a 4-year agreement for that total amount. However, that total amount is broken out into 4 separate budget years. So we have the agreement already. However, we're still gonna be going through the application process. I meet with the CSBG board in June to discuss the finalized dates for that and to go through and advertise for it because this funding does get handed down to the nonprofits. And those applications go through that CSBG board to decide on allocations for it. But the agreement itself goes through the county because we are the, oh my gosh.
Fiduciary agent.
Yeah, I can't even think of what they call us usually with that grant though. So yes, so we're basically the funder on it. So, this is just that agreement for it. And we should not see another one for 4 years.
So it's basically gonna be the 206,000 broken out over 4
Roughly,
years.
yes. Now, there is a chance that this amount could change depending on what happens at the federal level, but this is what they believe right now.
And it does, if there's a change to the federal level, it doesn't matter about us entering into this agreement.
No.
Okay.
Because we'll get an amendment from the state.
Well, I move that we approve the grant agreement for the Department of Health, Public Health Division and Albany County for the fiscal year 2026 through fiscal year 2029. Community service block grant funding in the amount not to exceed $826,880 through November 15th, 2029.
Second?
My agencies.
Yeah, he's-
Oh, that's right, yeah. Second. All those in favor?
All right.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Pete.
You bet.
Present for approval grant agreement between Wyoming Department of Health Division and Albany County for the county health officer in the amount of $40,000 from July 1, 2025 through June 30th, 2025.
We did receive one of our public health grant agreements. This is for the public health, the county nurse. 10,
We need to clarify the date.
Yeah, that's something. June 2020.
2029.
yeah.
I'm like, that's not 25 to 25. That's.
Yeah, I thought that was where I was
That's
reading it.
We're going backwards.
Yeah, we're back.
I know, I can see Kayla starting to,
And I was like,
Hey, and then you're reading it and your eyes start going, oh my gosh, what is this?
Anyways, this is a 4-year agreement.
This is one of those
Well, I
days,
can
I
sleep
guess.
this weekend. 4-year agreement. I don't know what's going on at the state level with the 4 years, but I'm okay with it at this point. It is $10,000 a year towards that position. We pay that, or we usually get increments of $2,500 a quarter for it. And that goes directly to that position.
well, I move that we approve the grant agreement between the Wyoming Department of Health Division and the county for the county health officer in the amount of $40,000 from July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2029.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 27, present for approval the closure of public health on June 27th, 2025 from 12 to 5 p.m. for staff and nurses to attend CPR recertification class.
Good
Good morning.
How are you all?
Wonderful, and you?
Pretty good. I missed the weather from yesterday, but it's okay. Yep. So this is just basic. We have to recertify, and we have Joe Teeter who comes to our office, and we do our CPR with him all at once to get it done, and we're all on the same schedule. Fridays tend to be pretty slow, so it's a good day to get that done.
Okay,
I move we approve the closure of public health on June 27th, 2025 from 12 to 5 for staff and nurses to attend CPR recertification classes.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 28, present for discussion, adding audio eye to the county website contract for ADA compliance. Ben, good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners. So we're considering adding audio. As of 2027, there's going to be additional American with Disabilities Act requirements on web county and public government websites. The audio eye plugin for our existing website would allow us to remediate and come into compliance with the new standards.
What does it do?
So there's two parts to it. There's a back end where they have automated and real people check our website for compliance issues. And then I get a report that says you got to fix this. And then on the front end, the part that people actually see, you get a little icon that will give you a little accessibility options like bigger fonts. It actually can draw a little highlight over what you're reading that you move around with your mouse. So yeah, it will just help us improve our accessibility of our website.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Uinta County is already using it. If you want to, I haven't seen an example of what the report will look like that I'll see. But Uinta County is using it if you want to see what it looks like in action from a public perspective. And it's just this being the public face of the county, sort of, I wanted to make sure you were aware that we were considering purchasing this.
What's the purchase price?
So we get a deal for the first year and it's prorated to co-terminate with the rest of our contract. So the first year is about $1,200. Every year after that, it's going to be another $4,500 on top of what we're already paying Civic Plus for the website
Oh,
itself.
so this is an add-on service that they
It
already,
is.
okay.
Well,
Yeah,
it's just a discussion, I guess.
yes, yeah. I mean, I see select a language here and
It's a little green icon down in the bottom Right.
Yeah.
Focus cursor highlight.
Okay, yeah. So it's not even something that has to be individually tweaked. They basically add it to the website and it's just one more automation feature that,
Right.
at least from what we see.
Yeah, AudioEye is a commercial product that Civic Plus has just integrated into their platform.
And I'm assuming in the back end, the report you get is what you posted isn't compatible with what we're trying to
Right.
make work kind of thing.
Yeah, like you need to add additional text to this image or that kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
And for a county the size of Albany, we actually have until 2027 to get in compliance with the ADA. But that'll give us plenty of time to actually get it done.
I guess the complaint we hear probably the most is accessibility and information wise. So I guess anything that makes it easier for people to
Yeah,
access isn't a bad thing.
right.
At least that's what I hear from, yeah.
Right,
I
oh
just-
yeah,
I didn't
oh
know
yeah.
that was
I have
going
more
on.
people calling me, how do you find this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all publicly available. Sometimes
Sometimes you don't know where to find it.
yeah, you're not
but-
trying to bury it. It's just there's that much information. Like this agenda is over 400 pages long and it's all publicly available. And all the
Right.
correspondence from the previous month, it's all there. It's just,
Wade through it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, no. You need a decision right now or?
No, it was mostly to bring it to your attention, and the quote I have from them is good until the end of the month. If you have concerns.
But there's no time frame other than the 2027 to have it implemented.
Correct.
Do you want to have time to deploy it otherwise, just to see how it functions and?
I don't think they'll give me a trial of it.
It's just a discounted first year.
Yeah, it's a discounted first year, plus besides being prorated till February.
Well, I'm in favor of it.
Yeah,
I think that,
I'll move to approve the adding AudioEye to the Albany County website contract for the ADA compliance.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much, Ben.
Thank you.
And thank you for being proactive. Item 25, present for approval approach license for Charles Weaver on County Road 45, Lake Hattie Road, located in Section 35, Township 15 North, Range 76 West. Good morning, Rob.
Good morning. Yeah, this is just wanted to do an approach off of the Lake Hattie Road. They're building a structure on the Wild Horse portion of that lot, and there isn't really, what they have now is not a really very efficient access point, so they actually want to just move it. So I didn't have any issues with it or anything.
I move that we approve the approach license for Charles Weaver as presented by Rob.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion
While
carries.
you're up here though,
Okay.
how far of that road is that road public? So Hanson and then it turns,
Right, it just, well, I'd have to look it up.
Well, 'cause
Exactly,
people-
this is right.
people put up signs, whether it's legitimate or not.
Right. Basically, where the pavement ends is where the, yeah, there's a section line that ends right there. That's where the county line ends, but yeah, I know what you're talking about, that people put signs, you just need to make sure there used to be a
They tried.
big wooden sign there at one time, but I think it's blown over. This was years ago, so.
By the way, there's nothing going on with Halleck Ridge Road. On Halleck Road.
Oh, did you
That
go
I
there?
could, that I could find. Nothing. It's nice. It's not in bad shape, but there's no
Oh, that part's
expiration.
good
anywhere.
here.
Yeah. Thanks, Rob.
All those in favor, did we do that?
Oh, no.
All those in favor? No.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 30, acknowledge receipt of resignation of Casey Prevedel from the Albany County Historic Preservation Board.
Do we have to move that we acknowledge?
Yeah.
Okay, I move that we acknowledge receipt of the resignation of Casey Prevedel from the Albany County Historic Preservation Board.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 31, award 2025-2026 Albany County Commissioners renewal scholarship recipient.
Madam Chair, I move that we award Catherine Eastman Curry with the Albany County Commissioners Renewal Scholarship recipient.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Is that Martin's daughter?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
And Kayla, do you need the alternates in order under that?
I would list them in order, because then if for some reason Catherine doesn't take it, it would fall to the next, so you could
Yeah,
list
we don't
those in the
have to.
motion too.
Okay, and so I'd like to add to the motion with the alternate, first alternate of Sam Kaiser and the second one of Anna Sell.
I'm in agreement. I second.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay. So we need to move into executive
Executive session pursuant to 14 or 16.
pursuant to 16 4 405A triple I.